Have you ever felt like the world around you is a reflection of your thoughts? That's exactly what Neville Goddard's law of assumption teaches us. This powerful idea can completely change your life, and it's not about doing special tricks or following complex rules. It's all about changing how you think about yourself and what's possible in your life. Imagine being able to shape your reality just by shifting your beliefs. That's the incredible power of the law of assumption. Think about it for a moment. Everything you see around you, your job, your relationships, your success, all of it started as a thought in your mind. The law of assumption says that what you deeply believe about yourself and the world becomes your reality. It's like the world is a big mirror, showing you what you think is true. If you believe you're capable of great things, the world will reflect that back to you. But if you doubt yourself, you'll see evidence of those doubts everywhere. This idea might seem simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It means that you have the ability to change your life by changing your thoughts and beliefs. You're not just a passive observer of your life, you're actively creating it with every thought and assumption you make. Now, here's the tricky part. If you don't change how you see yourself, nothing around you will change. This is where many people get stuck. They want their lives to be different, but they keep thinking the same old thoughts and believing the same old things about themselves. It's like trying to drive a car forward while looking in the rearview mirror. You'll just keep going in circles. Changing your beliefs means facing some hard truths about yourself. It means looking at the thoughts and assumptions you've been carrying around, maybe for years, and deciding to let them go. This can be uncomfortable. It might mean admitting that some of your problems are coming from your own thinking, not just from the outside world. But here's the good news. Once you start to make these changes in your mind, you'll start to see changes in your life. Let's dig deeper into how the law of assumption works. At its core, this idea says that your assumptions about reality shape what you experience. It's not just about positive thinking, it goes much deeper than that. It's about the fundamental beliefs you hold about yourself and the world around you. Think of your mind like a garden. Your thoughts and assumptions are the seeds. Whatever you plant will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, worry, and limitation, that's what will grow in your life. But if you plant seeds of confidence, possibility, and abundance, your life will start to reflect those things. The law of assumption works largely through your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. When you consistently assume something to be true, your subconscious mind accepts it as fact. Then, it goes to work making that assumption a reality in your life. This is why visualization and feeling the reality of your desires is so important in manifestation. When you vividly imagine something and feel the emotions associated with having it, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as real. This sets in motion a chain of events that can bring your desire into physical reality. The exciting thing about the law of assumption is that it gives you the power to shift your reality. You're not stuck with the life you have now. By changing your assumptions, you can create a new reality for yourself. This doesn't mean that change happens overnight. It often takes time and persistence. But the power to change is always in your hands. Think about an area of your life you'd like to improve. Maybe it's your career, your relationships, or your health. What assumptions do you currently hold about this area? Are they serving you or holding you back? By identifying and changing these assumptions, you can start to create a new reality for yourself. One helpful way to understand the law of assumption is to think of the world as a mirror. This mirror doesn't just reflect your physical appearance, it reflects your inner world. Your beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions are constantly being reflected back to you in your experiences and circumstances. If you believe that life is hard and that good things only happen to other people, the mirror of your reality will show you evidence to support these beliefs. You might find yourself facing constant challenges or watching others succeed while you struggle. But if you assume that life is full of opportunities and that good things come easily to you, your reality will begin to shift to reflect these new assumptions. This mirror analogy helps us understand why it's so important to be mindful of our thoughts and beliefs. Every thought is like a message you're sending out to the universe, and the universe responds by reflecting that message back to you in your physical reality. One of the challenges in applying the law of assumption is breaking free from old patterns of thinking. We all have habitual ways of thinking about ourselves and the world. These habits can be hard to break, especially if we've been thinking this way for a long time. For example, if you've always thought of yourself as someone who's not good with money, it can feel strange and uncomfortable to start assuming that you're financially savvy and abundant. Your old beliefs might try to reassert themselves, telling you that you're being unrealistic or foolish. This is where persistence comes in. Changing your assumptions isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. You need to consistently choose your new assumptions over your old ones. Every time you catch yourself falling into old patterns of thought, gently redirect yourself to your new assumptions. An important aspect of the law of assumption that Neville Goddard emphasized is the role of emotion. It's not enough to just intellectually believe something. You need to feel it as if it's already true. This emotional component is what gives power to your assumptions and helps bring them into reality. When you're working on changing your assumptions, try to generate the feelings you would have if your desire was already fulfilled. If you're assuming financial abundance, feel the relief and excitement of having plenty of money. If you're assuming perfect health, feel the energy and vitality in your body. These feelings send a powerful message to your subconscious mind and to the universe. While the law of assumption focuses on your inner world, it doesn't mean you should ignore taking action in the physical world. The key is to take inspired action, action that feels natural and aligned with your new assumptions. For example, if you're assuming that you're a successful business owner, you might feel inspired to network more, learn new skills, or pursue new opportunities. These actions flow naturally from your new assumption and help to bring it into reality. The important thing is that this action doesn't come from a place of lack or desperation. It's not about forcing things to happen. Instead, it's about allowing yourself to be guided by your new assumptions and taking action that feels right and natural. One of the challenges many people face when working with the law of assumption is impatience. We live in a world of instant gratification, and it's easy to get frustrated if we don't see immediate results. But manifestation often takes time. The seeds you plant with your assumptions need time to grow. This is where trust comes in. You need to trust in the process and in the power of your assumptions. Even if you can't see changes happening on the surface, trust that things are shifting beneath the surface. Your job is to maintain your assumption and keep aligning your thoughts and feelings with your desire. Remember, the universe operates on its own timeline. Sometimes things manifest quickly, and sometimes it takes longer. But if you stay consistent with your assumptions and trust in the process, you will see results. As you work with the law of assumption, you'll likely encounter doubts and negative thoughts. This is normal and doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. The key is how you handle these thoughts when they arise. Instead of fighting against negative thoughts or getting upset with yourself for having them, simply acknowledge them and then choose to return to your desired assumption. You might say to yourself, "I see that thought, but I choose to believe this instead." Over time, as you consistently choose your new assumptions, the old doubts and negative thoughts will have less and less power. It's also helpful to remember that doubts and negative thoughts don't negate your manifestation unless you give them power. A fleeting doubt isn't going to undo all your work. It's your consistent, dominant assumptions that shape your reality. In the law of assumption, your self-concept plays a crucial role. Your self-concept is the set of beliefs and assumptions you hold about yourself. It's like the foundation upon which all your other assumptions are built. If you want to manifest specific things in your life, whether it's a successful career, a loving relationship, or financial abundance, it's important to examine your self-concept. Do you see yourself as someone worthy of these things? Do you believe you're capable of achieving them? Working on your self-concept means adopting new, empowering beliefs about yourself. Instead of seeing yourself as flawed or limited, you begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, and deserving of good things. This shift in self-concept can have a profound effect on your ability to manifest your desires. One of the key techniques in the law of assumption is what Neville Goddard called living from the end. This means mentally living as if your desire has already been fulfilled. Instead of hoping for your desire to come true in the future, you assume it's already true and live your life from that perspective. For example, if you want to manifest a new job, you would assume the feeling of already having that job. How would you feel waking up in the morning knowing you have your dream job? How would you carry yourself? What kinds of thoughts would you have? By living from the end, you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desire. This sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind and to the universe, helping to bring your desire into physical reality. Another powerful technique in the law of assumption is revision. This involves mentally revising past events to align them with your desired reality. If you had a difficult day, for example, before going to sleep, you could revise it in your mind, imagining how you would have preferred the day to go. Revision isn't about denying reality or living in fantasy. It's about understanding that your perception of past events shapes your present and future. By revising the past in your mind, you're changing the meaning you give to events and altering the assumptions you carry forward. This technique can be especially powerful for healing past hurts or changing long-standing patterns. By revising painful memories or past failures, you can change the assumptions you've built based on these experiences. One of the most important aspects of successfully applying the law of assumption is persistence. Changing your assumptions and manifesting your desires isn't usually a one-time event. It requires consistent effort and focus. This doesn't mean you need to strain or struggle. In fact, the process should feel natural and even enjoyable. But it does require you to consistently choose your new assumptions over your old ones. Every time you notice yourself slipping into old patterns of thought, gently guide yourself back to your new assumption. Persistence also means maintaining your assumption even when outer circumstances don't seem to be changing. Remember, your physical reality often lags behind your inner changes. By persisting in your new assumption, you allow time for your outer world to catch up with your inner world. Gratitude plays a vital role in the law of assumption. When you're grateful for what you have, you're assuming abundance rather than lack. This puts you in a positive vibration that aligns with receiving more good things. Moreover, feeling grateful for your desire as if you've already received it is a powerful way to strengthen your assumption. It combines the emotion of gratitude with the assumption that your desire is already yours. Try incorporating gratitude into your daily routine. Each day, take some time to feel grateful for the things you have and for the things you're assuming into your life. This practice can significantly boost your manifesting power. One common stumbling block in manifesting is getting too caught up in the how of your desire coming true. The law of assumption teaches that your job is to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The how is not your concern. When you try to figure out exactly how your desire will manifest, you often limit yourself. You might dismiss potential paths because you can't see how they could lead to your goal. By letting go of the how, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. This doesn't mean you should never take action, but your action should come from a place of inspiration and alignment with your assumption, not from trying to force a particular outcome. As you work with the law of assumption, you might find that others don't understand or support what you're doing. They might see it as unrealistic or even delusional to assume things that aren't yet visible in your physical reality. It's important to remember that others' opinions don't have to affect your assumptions unless you let them. You don't need to convince anyone else of the power of your assumptions. In fact, it's often best to keep your manifesting work private, at least in the beginning stages. Focus on maintaining your own assumptions and let others have their opinions. As you start to see results in your life, others may become curious about what you're doing differently. Self-love is a crucial component of successfully applying the law of assumption. When you love and accept yourself, you're much more likely to believe that good things can happen to you. You're more open to receiving the good that the universe has to offer. Practicing self-love means treating yourself with kindness and compassion. It means speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a beloved friend. As you cultivate self-love, you'll find it easier to maintain positive assumptions about yourself and your life. Remember, you are worthy of love and good things simply because you exist. You don't have to earn it or prove yourself. This understanding can be tremendously powerful in manifesting your desires. For the law of assumption to work most effectively, there needs to be alignment between your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Your thoughts should support your assumption, your feelings should match the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and your actions should be in line with someone who already has what you desire. This alignment sends a clear and consistent message to your subconscious mind and to the universe. It eliminates inner conflict and allows your assumption to manifest more quickly and easily. For example, if you're assuming financial abundance, your thoughts might be focused on the plenty you have, your feelings might be of security and generosity, and your actions might include treating yourself to small luxuries or making plans for the future. The words you speak are a powerful tool in the law of assumption. Your words are an expression of your assumptions and beliefs. By consciously choosing your words, you can reinforce your desired assumptions and help bring them into reality. Pay attention to the way you talk about yourself and your life. Are your words aligned with your desires, or are they reinforcing old, unwanted patterns? Make a conscious effort to speak as if your desires are already true. This doesn't mean denying your current reality, but rather speaking from the perspective of your assumption. Instead of saying, "I hope to get that job," you might say, "I'm excited about starting my new job." This subtle shift in language can have a powerful effect on your subconscious mind. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of assumption is understanding that your inner world creates your outer world. What you see around you is a reflection of your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. It's like the universe is a giant mirror, showing you what you think is true about yourself and life. This idea might seem strange at first. After all, we're used to thinking that the outside world affects us, not the other way around. But when you really look at it, you start to see how your thoughts and beliefs shape your experiences. For example, if you believe that you're not good enough, you might find yourself in situations that seem to prove this belief. You might struggle in your job or have difficult relationships, but these situations aren't happening to you by chance. They're reflecting back to you what you believe about yourself. The good news is that once you understand this, you can start to change your outer world by changing your inner world. If you start to believe that you're capable and worthy, you'll start to see evidence of this in your life. Opportunities might open up, relationships might improve, and you might find yourself succeeding in ways you never thought possible. Your beliefs are like the foundation of your reality. They shape how you see the world, how you interpret events, and how you act. And because your actions and interpretations shape your experiences, your beliefs end up creating your reality. Think about someone who believes that the world is a friendly place full of opportunities. This person is likely to notice and take advantage of opportunities that come their way. They're likely to approach people with openness and friendliness, which in turn makes people respond positively to them. Their belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, someone who believes the world is a harsh place where nothing ever goes right is likely to have very different experiences. They might miss opportunities because they don't believe good things can happen to them. They might approach people with suspicion or defensiveness, which could lead to negative interactions. Again, their belief creates their reality. So how do you change your inner world? It starts with becoming aware of your current thoughts and beliefs. Pay attention to your self-talk, the things you say to yourself in your mind. Notice the assumptions you make about yourself and the world around you. Once you're aware of your thoughts and beliefs, you can start to change them. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positively all the time. Instead, it's about gently guiding your thoughts in a more positive and empowering direction. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can pause and ask yourself if this thought is really true. You might replace it with a more balanced thought like, "I'm learning and growing every day," or "I have unique strengths and abilities." Remember, changing your inner world takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself and persistent in your efforts. Over time, you'll start to see your outer world changing to match your new inner reality. When it comes to using the law of assumption, persistence is key. You need to stick with your new beliefs long enough for them to come true in your outer world. This can be challenging, especially when your current reality doesn't seem to match what you're assuming. It's important to understand that there's often a gap between when you start assuming something new and when you see it manifest in your life. This gap can be frustrating, but it's a normal part of the process. Your job during this time is to keep believing, even when things look different on the outside. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't see anything happen right away. But if you keep watering and tending to it, eventually a sprout will appear. And if you keep caring for it, it will grow into a full plant. Your assumptions work the same way. You plant them in your mind, and if you persist in nurturing them, they will eventually grow into your reality. Persistence can be challenging because our minds are often drawn to what's currently visible in our lives. If you're assuming financial abundance but your bank account is still low, it can be hard to maintain your new assumption. Your old beliefs might try to creep back in, telling you that nothing is changing and that you're fooling yourself. This is where mental discipline comes in. You need to train your mind to focus on your new assumption rather than your current circumstances. This doesn't mean denying reality, but rather choosing to put your attention on what you want to create rather than what currently exists. One helpful technique is to remind yourself that what you see in your outer world is the result of past thoughts and assumptions. Your current assumption is creating your future reality, which you can't see yet. By keeping this in mind, you can maintain your persistence even when your outer world hasn't caught up yet. There are several techniques you can use to help maintain persistence in your assumptions. Visualization. Regularly visualize yourself living as if your assumption has already come true. Make these visualizations as vivid and detailed as possible. Affirmations. Use positive statements that align with your assumption. Repeat these to yourself regularly, especially when you notice doubts creeping in. Acting as if. Behave as you would if your assumption were already true. This helps to strengthen your belief and send a clear message to your subconscious mind. Gratitude. Practice feeling grateful for what you're assuming, as if you've already received it. This puts you in a positive vibration that aligns with your desire. Journaling. Write about your assumption as if it's already true. This can help to make it feel more real and reinforce your belief. Remember, persistence doesn't mean forcing or struggling. It's about consistently choosing your new assumption even when it feels challenging. With time and practice, it will become easier and more natural. One of the most powerful shifts you can make when using the law of assumption is to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want or what you're trying to avoid. This might sound simple, but it's actually a significant change for many people. Our minds often have a tendency to focus on problems, worries, and things we want to change. We might spend a lot of time thinking about the job we dislike, the debt we want to get rid of, or the relationship problems we're experiencing. But according to the law of assumption, focusing on these things actually gives them more power in our lives. Instead, the key is to shift your focus to what you do want. Rather than thinking about the job you dislike, focus on the fulfilling career you want to have. Instead of worrying about debt, imagine the financial abundance you want to experience. Rather than dwelling on relationship problems, envision the loving, harmonious relationship you desire. Where you place your focus is incredibly important because your focus directs your energy. Whatever you consistently think about and feel strongly about tends to grow in your life. It's like you're shining a spotlight on certain areas of your experience, and those areas naturally expand. This is why it's so important to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. When you focus on problems or lack, you're actually giving more energy to those things. But when you focus on what you want, you're directing your energy towards creating those positive experiences in your life. For example, if you're constantly thinking, "I don't want to be in debt," your focus is still on debt. Your mind doesn't really process the "don't" part. It just focuses on debt. As a result, you might find yourself continuing to struggle with debt. But if you shift your focus to "I am financially abundant," you're directing your energy towards creating abundance in your life. Shifting your focus takes practice, but there are several techniques you can use to help. Reframe negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking about what you don't want, consciously shift to thinking about what you do want instead. Use positive affirmations. Create statements that reflect what you want and repeat them regularly. Visualization. Spend time each day visualizing yourself living the life you want. Gratitude practice. Focus on what you're grateful for, including things you want to manifest as if you already have them. Vision board. Create a visual representation of what you want to focus on and look at it regularly. Remember, the goal isn't to never have negative thoughts. That's not realistic. The goal is to become aware of your thoughts and consciously choose to focus on what you want more often. When focusing on what you want, it's important to engage your emotions. It's not enough to just think about what you want, you need to feel it too. Emotion gives power to your thoughts and helps to impress them more deeply on your subconscious mind. Try to generate the feelings you would have if you already had what you want. If you're focusing on financial abundance, feel the sense of security and freedom that would come with it. If you're focusing on a loving relationship, feel the joy and warmth of being in that relationship. By combining focused thought with positive emotion, you send a powerful message to the universe about what you want to create in your life. This is the essence of using the law of assumption to manifest your desires. The mirror cycle is a powerful concept within the law of assumption that can help you understand how your thoughts and beliefs create your reality. This cycle explains why some people seem to be stuck in patterns of negative experiences, while others consistently create positive outcomes in their lives. The standard mirror cycle works like this. You observe your current reality, which leads to thoughts and beliefs about that reality. These thoughts and beliefs then shape your inner image or attitude. This inner image is reflected back to you by the mirror of reality, creating your experiences. You then observe these experiences, and the cycle continues. For many people, this cycle becomes a trap. They observe negative circumstances in their lives, which leads to negative thoughts and beliefs. These negative thoughts create a negative inner image, which is then reflected back as more negative experiences. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that can be hard to break. The key to breaking this cycle is to interrupt it at the point of observation. Instead of passively observing and accepting your current reality as fixed, you can choose to focus on what you want to see. This is where the power of the law of assumption comes in. By assuming a new reality, by holding in your mind the image of what you want to experience, you can begin to change the cycle. Your new assumption creates a new inner image, which the mirror of reality then begins to reflect back to you. At first, the changes might be small. You might notice little coincidences or opportunities that align with your new assumption. These are like cracks in the old reality, showing you that change is possible. As you persist in your new assumption, these changes will grow larger and more significant. To truly master the law of assumption, you need to reverse the mirror cycle. Instead of starting with observation of your current reality, you start with the image of what you want to create. You hold this image in your mind, feel the emotions associated with it, and live as if it's already true. Then, as you go about your day, you look for reflections of this new reality. You actively seek out evidence that supports your new assumption. This doesn't mean denying what's in front of you, but rather choosing to focus on and give importance to the things that align with your desired reality. For example, if you're assuming financial abundance, you might notice and appreciate the small luxuries in your life. You might feel grateful for the money you do have, rather than focusing on what you lack. You might notice opportunities to increase your income that you might have overlooked before. By doing this, you're training your mind to align with your new assumption. You're creating a new self-reinforcing cycle, one that supports your desired reality rather than perpetuating unwanted circumstances. Choose your assumption, decide what you want to experience in your life. Make it clear and specific in your mind. Create a vivid inner image. Imagine this new reality in detail. What does it look like? How does it feel? Live from this assumption, act, think, and feel as if your assumption is already true. Look for reflections. Actively seek out evidence in your life that supports your new assumption. Celebrate even small alignments. Persist. Keep holding your assumption even if your outer world hasn't fully changed yet. Remember, there's often a time lag between your inner shift and outer manifestation. Adjust as needed. If you're not seeing the results you want, you might need to adjust your assumption or address any conflicting beliefs. Remember, changing your reality through the mirror cycle is a skill that takes practice. Be patient with yourself and persistent in your efforts. With time, you'll become more adept at consciously creating your reality. Now that we've explored the key concepts of the law of assumption, let's look at some practical steps you can take to apply this principle in your life. Remember, the law of assumption is not about magical thinking or denying reality. It's about consciously choosing your beliefs and assumptions to shape your experience of life. The first step in using the law of assumption is to get clear about what you want. Take some time to think deeply about your desires. What do you want to create or experience in your life? Be as specific as possible. Instead of just more money, you might desire a fulfilling job that pays $100,000 a year. Instead of a better relationship, you might want a loving, supportive partnership with open communication. Write down your desires. This helps to make them more concrete and real in your mind. As you write, allow yourself to feel excited about these desires as if they're already coming true. Once you're clear about what you want, it's time to create a new assumption that aligns with your desire. This assumption should be in the present tense, as if it's already true. For example, I am in a loving, supportive relationship. I have a fulfilling job that pays me well. I am healthy, energetic, and full of vitality. Your assumption should feel good when you think about it. If it feels like a stretch, you can start with something that feels more believable and work your way up. The key is to find an assumption that you can really feel and believe in. This is where the real work begins. Living from your assumption means thinking, feeling, and acting as if your desire is already true. This isn't about pretending or forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It's about shifting your perspective and aligning your inner world with what you want to create. Visualize. Spend time each day visualizing yourself living as if your assumption is true. Make these visualizations as vivid and detailed as possible. Use affirmations. Repeat your assumption to yourself regularly, especially when you wake up and before you go to sleep. Act as if. Make decisions and take actions that align with your assumption. If you're assuming financial abundance, for example, you might start planning that dream vacation. Feel the emotions. Generate the feelings you would have if your assumption were already true. Feel the joy, excitement, gratitude, or peace associated with your desire. As you live from your new assumption, start to notice things in your life that align with it. These might be small at first: a compliment that aligns with your assumption of confidence, an unexpected refund that aligns with your assumption of abundance. Appreciate these alignments when you notice them. This appreciation helps to reinforce your assumption and sends a message to your subconscious mind that your assumption is becoming real. It's natural to experience doubts or to encounter circumstances that seem to contradict your assumption. When this happens, don't fight against these thoughts or experiences. Instead, gently return to your assumption. You might say to yourself, I see this circumstance, but I choose to hold to my assumption. I trust that things are working out for me. Remember, what you're seeing in your outer world is often a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. Your new assumption is creating your future reality. Persistence is key in using the law of assumption. It takes time for your outer world to align with your inner changes. Keep holding to your assumption even when you can't see evidence of it yet. At the same time, be patient with yourself and the process. Change doesn't always happen overnight. Trust that as long as you're consistently aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your assumption, change is happening, even if you can't see it yet. While the law of assumption is primarily about your inner state, it doesn't mean you should sit back and do nothing. Take actions that align with your assumption. These actions should feel natural and inspired, not forced or desperate. For example, if you're assuming a successful career, you might feel inspired to learn new skills, network with people in your industry, or apply for that promotion. These actions come from a place of alignment with your assumption, not from fear or lack. Throughout my journey of working with the law of assumption, I've seen remarkable changes in my life. When I first started, I was skeptical. How could simply changing my assumptions really change my outer reality? But as I practiced, I began to see results. At first, they were small, little coincidences that aligned with what I was assuming. For example, when I started assuming financial abundance, I found a $20 bill on the street. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was a sign that something was shifting. As I persisted, bigger changes started to happen. Job opportunities opened up that I never would have expected. My relationships improved as I assumed more love and understanding in my life. Even my health got better as I assumed vitality and well-being. One particularly powerful example was when I used the law of assumption to manifest a new job. I was unhappy in my current position and wanted a change. Instead of focusing on what I didn't like about my job, I created a clear assumption about the kind of job I wanted: fulfilling work, a supportive team, and a salary that allowed me to live comfortably. I spent time each day visualizing myself in this new job. I felt the excitement of doing work I loved and the satisfaction of being valued by my colleagues. I acted as if I already had this job, carrying myself with more confidence and making decisions from the perspective of someone who was successful and fulfilled in their career. Within a few months, an opportunity came up that matched my assumption almost exactly. It wasn't in the field I expected, and it came through a connection I wouldn't have anticipated. But it was everything I had been assuming: fulfilling work, a great team, and the salary I wanted. This experience taught me the power of focusing on what I want rather than what I don't want. It showed me that when I align my inner world with my desires, the outer world has a way of rearranging itself to match. The law of assumption is a powerful tool for shaping your reality. By understanding that your inner world creates your outer world, persistently holding to your desired assumptions, and focusing on what you want rather than what you don't want, you can begin to manifest remarkable changes in your life. Remember, this isn't about magical thinking or denying reality. It's about consciously choosing your beliefs and assumptions and aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with what you want to create. It's about becoming an active participant in shaping your life rather than a passive observer. As you practice the law of assumption, be patient with yourself and the process. Change doesn't always happen overnight, but with persistence and faith, you can create profound shifts in your reality. Start small, celebrate your successes along the way, and keep refining your practice. The mirror of reality is always reflecting back to you what you hold in your mind. By mastering the law of assumption, you're learning to consciously choose what you project into that mirror. You're taking control of your story and becoming the author of your life. So, what reality do you want to assume into existence? The power is in your hands, or more accurately in your mind. Your assumptions shape your world. Choose them wisely, hold them firmly, and watch as your life transforms to match your deepest desires.